Hi and welcome to the Ross A Bespoke YouTube channel. Now today is a special day because today is Burns night. So what I'd really like to do first of all is just give you a really quick rundown of how a Burns night works. Now first of course we have the piper. So today we're joined by professional piper Rich Gordon, and we will also be joined by vintage valet Edward Stewart on the pipes. He's a fellow YouTuber. You may well have seen his channel. If you haven't, please do check it out. So we start with the pipes, as I say, and then we'll have the welcome, which will come from myself. After the welcome, we have the traditional Selkirk Grace, and then the main event, as it were, the address to the haggis. After we address the haggis, of course, we have the meal. Now, Chef Philippe has actually created a beautiful Burns night menu for us, and he will be talking us through his Burns night menu. And then, of course, we'll enjoy a nice glass of whiskey. We have our entertainment. So we've got some musical entertainment tonight for your enjoyment. And then, of course, the Immortal Memory. So the Immortal Memory is the main speech of the event, where people will talk about, of course, Robert Burns, but they will also maybe mention some highlights of their year and things like that. So for my Immortal Memory, what I've actually done is I've invited a few of my friends and colleagues to come and just say a few words. Then the toast to the Lassies, which will then be followed by, what will be followed by? The toast to the laddies in return. So that is our format for tonight. I hope you enjoy it. I hope it gives you some ideas as to how you might want to run your own Burns night in the future. Hello and welcome to our virtual Burns night. Now, I've arranged and served at a lot of Burns nights over the years, but I must say this is the first one that I have actually emceed. Now, there's a reason for that, because normally the kind of MC you get to work at a Burns night has got a strong Scottish accent, a claymore and a kilt. But don't worry, we've got more of that coming up later. Those of you who don't know who Robert Burns was, now I'll just wait a second for any Scottish people watching to capture their breath again, but this channel gets watched by people from all around the world, so it is definitely possible that you might not know who he is, or you might think you don't know who he is, because nearly everyone in the world has actually heard at least one of Robert Burns' poems. And that one is Auld Lang Syne. Yes, Auld Lang Syne, that famous song that we all sing on New Year's Eve, is actually one of Robert Burns' or Rabbie Burns' poems put to music. So now we all have an idea who this 18th century poet was. But what I'm going to do is, not only do I want to make this video an enjoyable experience for you tonight for our virtual Burns night, but I also want to make it a tool. So if you want to put on your own Burns night in the future, you can. So this is how to put on a Burns supper.
My lords, ladies and gentlemen, the self-hurt praise.
Some who eat and can eat. Some would eat that want it.
We have meat and we can eat, and let the Lord be thanked.
Right, so we've got to the part of the evening that most people think of as the finale. The addressing of the haggis. Now, some of you might find this difficult to follow because it's actually in the original Scots language. But don't worry, I'm actually going to try and put some translations up for you to make it easier for you to understand. But I'd like to introduce John Wartritt, who is a professional chef of the highest level, and he takes his address to the haggis very serious, as you will see. Now, I'd just like to tell you something. Now, this was filmed before the social distancing and the COVID restrictions. So before you all jump on saying, oh my goodness, look, there's friends and family sitting next to each other, don't worry. It was filmed back when we were still allowed to sit next to each other.
There, for your honest sons of face! Great chieftain and a pudding race. A pudding name off. The attractive place. Page. Tripe. Third. Well, a ye worthy, our grace. As lang's my here. Grown and trench up there, you fill. Your hurdies like a distant hill. Your tin would help to mend a mill in time of need. Through your pores, the dews distill like amber bead. His knife. See rustic labour dicht, and cuts you up the ready slight, drenching your steaming entrails drift like on a ditch. And then, oh, what a glorious sight. Warm, reeking, rich. On, stretch, strive, they'll tack the hindmost on the drive. Oh, their wheels swelled kites belive, bed like drums. The old Goodman may slight drive, but I think it hums. Is there the Uri's French ragout, or olio, stout as Sue, a fricassee that would mark a spew and perfect scunner, look down with sneer and scornful view on such a dinner? Good devil, see him, Uri's trash, as feckless as a withered rash, spindle shank and good white lash, his knee a knit. The bloody floods and fields he'll dash. Oh, how unfit. But mark, the rustic haggis fed, the trembling earth resounds in his tread. Clap in his wally knee of lead, he'll make it whistle. And legs, and arms, and heads he'll snag like taps of bristles. O powers who make mankind their care and serve them up their bill of fare. Old Scotland wants nae stinking ware that louts and juggies. But if you want our grateful prayer, here a haggis. Ladies and gentlemen, you raise your glasses. Now toast, Rabbie Burns.
Rabbie Burns. Fantastic.
Thank you so much, John. And I tell you what, I don't know about anyone else, but I am feeling seriously hungry. Now did John remind you of anyone there? Just let me know. So who was Robert Burns? The eldest son of 7 children from a poor tenant farmer. Robert Burns was born in 1759 in a small village in Ayrshire called Alloway. His father recognised the importance of education, which probably would have been fairly rare for his class at the time, but he went to school and he learnt to read and write. And by the age of 15, he was already writing love poetry. Throughout his life, women were one of his greatest sources of inspiration, shall we say, with hundreds of lines of poetry written about love and relationships. Burns himself was the father to 12 children, 9 of which were to his wife. So when we say inspiration, I think you probably know what I mean. Robert Burns mostly worked in his own language, which is the Scots form of English. So sometimes that can be difficult for people to understand now. Even the language of Scotland itself has greatly changed since this time. What is a Burns supper and why do we have it? And basically it was a group of his friends and admirers that came together to have a Burns night to remember him. And that has spread throughout the world. And now a Burns night is a common gathering and a celebration of Robert Burns's poetry throughout the world. Now I think a Burns night can almost be thought of more than just a celebration of Burns, but a celebration of Scotland. So we enjoy bagpipes, of course with poetry, music, we wear tartan, kilts and many other things that remind us of Scotland. What I would like to do now is introduce my next speaker. Now, some of you may know him, some of you may not. He's a regular contributor to the channel. Please, ladies and gentlemen, this is Philippe.
Hi, good evening, Philip here again. Tonight we'll be speaking about Burns supper on Robert Burns. Robert Burns was born on the 25th of January 1759 and died on the 21st of July 1796. The first Burns supper was held annually on the 21st of July following his death. After a few years, the date changed to the 25th of January, the day of his birthday. A Burns supper is represented by organizations with a Scottish origin, but celebrated worldwide: Canada, England, Australia, and America. What have we got on the food menu ideas for Burns supper? We've got the seared salmon salad with a heather dressing. The salmon can be replaced with a smoked salmon. We also have the Scotch broth. Originally, this would have been a barley broth finished with very small dice of vegetables. Cullen skunk was Cullen in a small little town in the northeast of Scotland. Skink is a Scottish term for knuckle. Years ago, the Scots were unable to find beef, but it was plenty of fish and even more smoked haddock. This is why this soup today is made with smoked haddock, leek, onion, fennel, cream, parsley, garlic, and of course potatoes. What did I choose for main course? Of course, haggis nips and tatties, served with a creamy whiskey sauce and chives. Haggis is a savoury pudding with a sheep block, will include heart, liver, lang, all that's minced with onion, oatmeal sweet, spices on stock, cooked in a sheep's stomach. Traditionally served with mashed potatoes and turnip. And over the years, this vegetable was switched to sweet. Vegetarian haggis is generally made with lentils and mushroom. And for side dishes, I would use a skirly mash, with the floury mash, onion, oatmeal, double cream and parsley. Champ, with the normal mash, nice creamy, with spring onion, and of course, buttered leek. And for dessert, wow, we've got 3 good desserts here on the menu. First one is Kranakan, whipped cream and raspberry layered with a sweet hot wafers infused with honey and whiskey sauce, which can also be used as a trifle. Selkirk bannock with a rich fruit cake, which can be toasted, unbuttered, or baked into a bread and butter pudding. Or clouty dumpling. This traditional steam pudding is packed full of dry fruit and plenty of ginger, cinnamon and winter spice. It can be served with your favorite drums, cream, custard, or even ice cream. And why not finish the dinner with a wee sweet piece? Shortbread, Scottish classic made with flour, sugar and butter, or the original Scottish tablet. Tablet was originally made with sugar and cream, but it's now have commonly made with condensed milk, butter, since it is so easy to burn the cream. As they say in Scotland, Slangeva.
Good evening, everyone. It gives me good pleasure to say it is my 6th year in Scotland where we're celebrating Burns Supper. And on this occasion, it gives me great pleasure to say that I shall be having my Burns Supper celebration in the official tartan of Barbados. And it's officially registered in Scotland. It's called the Island of Barbados tartan. It's depicting the colours of the Barbados flag, blue, yellow and black. Along with that, I shall be having the traditional haggis as we do for Burns Supper, but instead of having a whiskey with my haggis, I'm going to have the new Mount Gay peat expression, which is Mount Gay rum, which is aged in oak barrels and is a blend of rums between 8 and 15 years, and then further aged for 6 months in Alloway whiskey barrels, giving it that peat, smoky flavor. So Simeon, I thank you very much for inviting me to celebrate Burns Supper with you. Thank you.
I just want to say thank you, and I really appreciate everything you have taught me in that program. Thank you.
Simeon, all the best. Thank you for all the knowledge that you have given us last year in our course through the Rosette International Butler School. So I just want to say a heartfelt
Slangeva, my
thank
friends.
you again, and all the best to you. Big up yourself, Bajan Stout. In this glass, I have some brown rum that I got from our last store that we went to. So toasting to you. Big up yourself later.
Ladies and gentlemen, now it's time for some more music. So may I please introduce my own beautiful wife Claire to sing you some traditional songs with the lyrics from Burns poetry.
Oh, my love is like a red, red rose that newly sprung in June. Oh, my love is like a melody that sweetly played in tune. As fair art thou, my bonny gang dry, my dear, till all the seas gang dry, and I will love thee still, my dear, till all the seas gang dry, till all the seas gang dry, my dear, and rocks melt away the sun, and I will love thee still, my dear, while sands of life shall run. So fare thee well, my only love, so fare thee well, and I will come again, my love, though 'twere 10,000 mile, though 'twere 10,000 mile, my love, though 'twere 10,000 mile, and I will come again, my love, though 'twere 10,000 mile.
Ladies and gentlemen, now I'm very excited to have Piper Rich Gordon back, not to play the pipes now, but to deliver his toast to the Lassies.
So, it's Burns Night 2021, and what a strange year it is. What a strange world we find ourselves in at the moment. Never thought that Burns Night this year would be limited to seeing people's faces over mobile phones and computers and things. But it is what it is. At least we have our health and we're able to indulge in these festivities. So my good friend Simeon, obviously, he asked me to be the piper for the invisible, imaginary, virtual haggis this year. But he also asked me to do the toast to the lassies. In my life as an adventuring piper, I have witnessed many burn suppers and many different formats of the toast to the lassies. Of course, any self-respecting burn supper would not be complete without the toast to the lassies. So, obviously, there's lots of things to draw inspiration from and lots of things that I could rehash. But I decided that under the exceptional circumstances of the past year, I would like to toast the women closest to me in my life because of the exceptional contribution that they have made to my life in general, but also especially over the last little while. Now, I have 4 very special women in my life. My mother, my grandmother, who were largely instrumental in my upbringing and to whom I still have a very close bond and very strong relationship. But also my wife, my beautiful wife, and my little girl who just arrived, just coming up in 2 years now. And to say that I find myself to be exceptionally fortunate to have these 4 women in my life would be an understatement. Particularly since last March. My wife is truly the most beautiful, most intelligent, most thoughtful, caring, loyal person I've ever met. I'm still in a state of disbelief that, first of all, she agreed to marry me and the fact that we are married. But of course we had a little girl and she is just amazing. She can't speak properly yet, but everything she does just astounds me, amazes me, surprises me every day. And no matter how bad everything is, no matter, I could literally be on fire, my arm could be hanging off, it could be the end of the world, and all my little girl needs to do is smile to me, or do something that she does that's really cute, and that's it. You know, everything is okay again. Everything else can wait. It's just that fantastic. And I'm waiting to wake up, to be honest, and realise that this has all been a dream. But because of that, and because of the difficulty that we have all faced over the last year, now I do want to add a caveat here that I am very fortunate. I have not suffered any ill health from this pandemic, and, you know, living still relatively comfortably. Yes, there have been tragedies in the family as a result of it, and I'm not going to disguise that. But compared to many others, I have been very fortunate. So I'm not pretending that I've had it any worse or any better than anyone else. But nonetheless, it has been a year of uncertainty, a great deal of stress, a great deal of, well, just chaos, really. You know, we don't know the full extent of what's going on, and everything's constantly changing and evolving, and just when you think we're making progress, we seem to take a backward step again. I'm not making any political or disparaging statements there. That's just a reflection on how things have felt. But nonetheless, despite all of that, these women in my life, especially my wife and my daughter, they give me a reason to wake up every morning. They give me a reason to smile, to have the confidence and the courage to look forward to hopefully brighter days. They make me want to be a better person. I know it's a very cliched thing, but they do. And truly, I would be lost without them. So, obviously, this is not something that is a unique trait to the fairer sex. You know, it's something that people have regardless of their gender. But in this case, it is the women in my life to whom I am deeply indebted and forever grateful. And, you know, if you have someone or people like that in your life, let them know. Tell them. Show them your gratitude. It doesn't have to be your wife, it doesn't have to be your mother, it could be a friend, anyone. But just let them know how much you appreciate them. So, before I get into any more modelling displays of affection and other kinds of mush, I think that's a good place to end. So, here's to the Lassies. Slàinte.
For all that, coming yet, for all that. Man to man, the world all. So brothers be for all that. To the laddies.
A fond kiss and then we sever. A farewell, alas, forever. Deep in heart-wrung tears I'll pledge thee. Warring sighs and groans I'll wage thee. Who shall say that fortune grieves him while the star of hope she leaves him? Midnight cheerful twinkle lights me. Dark despair alone benights me. I blame my partial fancy. Nothing can resist blindly. Had they never loved, say blindly, never met, nor never parted, we would not be broken-hearted. Fare thee well, my first and fairest. Fare thee well, my best and dearest. Thine be like a joy and treasure, peace and enjoyment, love and pleasure. A fond kiss and then we sever. A farewell us forever. Deep in heart-wrung tears I'll pledge thee, warring sighs and groans I'll wait thee.
Right, so thank you all so much for joining me tonight for this Burns supper. And I'd really like to just say that it's wonderful to still be able to be with people, even if it is virtually. But, you know, there's people across the world that have sent messages in from Barbados, from Scotland, from all over the world. So it's great to be together at this time. So I'll leave you thinking of togetherness through all of times, and for old time's sake, Old Lang Syne, sung by Paula Barron. Thank you very much. Take it away, Paula.
Should old acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind? Should old acquaintance be forgot and days of old Lang Syne? For old Lang Syne, my dear, for old Lang Syne, we'll take a cup o' kindness yet for old Lang Syne. Now here's a hon, my trusty friend, and gies a hon o' thine. We'll take a recht good wally wacht for old Lang